Hey, this is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the empowered harmonizers. We're zooming in and picking up right after where our video left off. And we're really kind of understanding the role of self-medication. This coping mechanism, defense mechanism, is a result of being involved in covert narcissistic, emotionally manipulative relationships, such as we see with the personality disorder or the psychopathic, and how that sets you off course. And self-medication, the soothing of one's hurts, is a way to pacify a lot of that monkey brain activity, the racing thoughts, the ruminations, the feeling of not being able to think clearly. So you're trying to relax and unwind, perhaps have some fun, let loose for a while, get out of the ordinary pace of things and to change things up. And so when we understand the role of this, when we look at any of the behaviors, drinking, eating, going out gambling, going out dancing, looking at attractive people watching, when it gets into the addiction though, it becomes a whole nother role in one's person's life. So, in other words, drinking is no longer drinking to socialize and have fun or in moderation. It can become a way to cause you to be in a regressed state. In other words, there's triggers that cause it. And oftentimes when it's a result, it's going to cause someone to feel unhappy, uncomfortable, or miserable, and feeling like they have sabotaged themselves. The feeling that, the regret, why did I do that? Why did I drink that? I feel sick now. I feel disgusted. I don't want to be this. So there can be the regret. And if this is your kind of being addicted to this self-medication, in other words, you're trying to do something yourself, which oftentimes is the result of something that should be sort of orchestrated either in another manner, in other words, seeing things in another light so that this isn't a trigger for you, so you're not feeling out of control or disgusted, or it's having an unhealthy role in your life, versus having it in moderation, being able to have fun, being able to unwind, being able to see things, movies, people watch, beautiful people, going out to do something that is entertaining. So if you're not giving yourself that and you're resorting to self-medication, which is really what I feel is like a regressive trigger. So when you are making progress, when you're moving forward, this is when you're going to hit these triggers. It's going to cause you to want to slow down, put a big speed bump, so that you kind of have this crash landing in feeling sick, just like people who overeat. Why did I eat the whole cheesecake? Why did I go through all that pornography? Why did I go through all that online gambling or that gaming? Why did I do that? And then so you're feeling kind of like off course. So if that is the experience for you and you're self-medicating in an unhealthy manner, drinking beyond the limit. If you're drinking more than one drink a day, if you're drinking 2 and 3 a day, and this is a typical thing, and you could fill your basement with all the bottles that you've been drinking. This is a sign that you've been self-medicating in an unhealthy manner. There's nothing wrong for people who are not alcoholic, and I know we have viewers here who are alcoholic. In other words, they cannot drink one drink. For them, it just goes overboard. Like a viewer stated, one drink is not, one drink is not enough, and 1,000 is, one drink is enough, and 1,000 is never enough. So if you are alcoholic and you can't control that, or these activities are causing you to feel sick, or land you in a place where you don't want to be, where you're feeling disgusted with yourself, or isolated, or lonely, then it's time to say, I need to stop all of this, or it's going to be stopped for me. If it gets out of control, eventually something is going to happen, and something is going to result from it. Liver disease, just the feeling that you can't relate to others, all the after effects of self-medication. So it's a way for you to try to soften the blow and cope and have a defense mechanism as a result of these ruminations or the emotional manipulation. It's for you to try to get control. And once again, now there's nothing wrong, I feel, with certain things in moderation. There's nothing wrong with those people who can handle it, having a glass of wine with dinner, something that helps you to unwind. I don't recommend smoking. I don't recommend drinking. I don't recommend prescription medications, but everything in moderation. I mean, it's like saying you can't have a frozen yogurt, you can't have an ice cream sundae, you can't have a chocolate chip cookie. If you're depriving yourself of these ordinary activities, then see the role that it has in your life and see how it has in moderation and see how your body processes it. If it's to a point where it's making you to feel sick, unhappy about yourself, you're not happy about the usage, you're going overboard, then this is a self-medication that needs to be corrected. And it's a sign that, I need to steer away from this and find other alternatives that are quenching and satisfying to me that I can find as substitutes. In other words, it is training your palate in a way, in a new momentum that doesn't cause you to, do the dive into alcohol, but that you have your refrigerator stocked. So in other words, it's having a plan B at the ready. Do you have Perrier? Do you have some 7-Up? Do you have some Coke or Diet Coke? Do you have some Dr. Pepper? Do you have a variety of drinks? Rather, it's kind of like people who, when they're quitting smoking, I always feel if you want to drop something, you have to pick something up. So you have to have a go-to something in place. So for example, if you're no longer going to drink, then you're going to say, I'm going to have iced tea. I'm going to relax. I'm going to put on a meditation. I'm going to put on some music. I'm going to draw a bubble bath, and I'm going to get a big glass of Perrier with lime or lemon. I'm going to still give myself something because your body will begin to snap or pounce like a starving cat at a piece of bread. It's just, if you deprive yourself and if you push down and repress especially your carnal desires, which is your desire for love, sex, eating, those sort of visceral pleasures. If you're completely repressing this, then you're in a state of denial and you're going to pounce. You're going to, drink so much. Why did I eat the whole cheesecake? Oh my God, I had, a whole bag of Reese cups. And you're like, I feel sick. Like, I'm sick of feeling sick. Why did I drink a 6-pack of Mountain Dew? You're trying to give yourself that buzz. You're trying to get yourself out of the perspective, and kind of out of the scenery of the doldrums or the ruminations. So you need to change your scenery and change your palate. Have a go-to, an alternative, so that you're not feeling without and you're not feeling like, I don't know what to do, and then the trigger has control over you. Oftentimes self-medication is a way to keep one regressed and kind of fall back when you're making progress. It's just like when people are seduced by the hover attempt. Self-medication can take the role of this. A lot of people will eat a lot of chocolate. They might resort to other things, self-hurting behavior, self-sabotaging, crying all the time, never leaving the house. These become ways of self-medicating and padding the wound. I would highly recommend the book Adult Children of Alcoholics by Janet Weitz. I think it's Woetz. And you can understand some of the dynamics in that book as well. It's a thin book, and I know we have a lot of avid readers. Readers are leaders here in the community and on the channel. And I would highly recommend you look at that to understand some of the dynamics of, again, pathological individuals who you have felt have been an authority in your life, but weren't authority in the way that you needed to be, or weren't responsible and accountable to you in relationships the way that is normal, healthy, fun, that you can be loyal to. So it's like the self-medication will oftentimes spring forth out of the anger of being loyal to something that didn't merit the loyalty, but you were stuck there because of trauma bond. And the self-medication is a way, it's like a way for you to strive to re-identify with a new feeling, get new perspective, get some new scenery, change the view. So once again, the self-medication, when you look at certain things in moderation, and, to give yourself in moderation, I feel for those people who are healthy, who can metabolize this normally, then what is, wrong with this? It's, they recommend, heart health is having a glass of wine a day. Now, I don't drink wine, but, these are things that are studied and recommended. It's important to know how to de-stress and even have things that are calming. Have other foods or other beverages that are calming to you. Everybody's palate, is different. Some people might be very calmed by cheese. Having other like turkey, lean meats, proteins that digest slowly and don't give you the sort of superficial buzz of sugar, or chocolate in moderation. These are some things that you can do that still help you to feel good and have fun and have some pleasure, without depriving the visceral pleasures as a result of kind of being things, out of whack, as a result of being in a relationship with someone who is manipulative and has got your momentum off, who has your sense of taste, your sense of judgment when it comes to consuming of the nutrients, and begin to study things like the juicing, find an alternative. For people who are unhappy with their drinking patterns, or they don't want to do that. They don't want the porn addiction. They don't want the smoking. They don't want the drugging, whatever it is, as the, taken on the form of self-medication for you, overeating, foods that make you feel sick, but you feel a compulsion and you don't like the feeling of being out of control. It's to say, okay, well, I'm going to let that go. And because that's keeping me angry, that's keeping me stuck, it's keeping me regressed. And so it's important to have, I feel, an alternative that you really dive into. So you might need to get into nutrition or juicing. And then using some of the, really interesting, like ice creams that they have out there that are plant-based. Or using the yogurts and getting a recipe book and really kind of absorbing yourself into some new little avenues that that relate to the visceral pleasures of things that you drink. The spirulina, the chloria, the acai, there's a lot of different very healthy superfoods that can give you a feeling of well-being and kind of a natural high. In other words, rather than feeling drunk, like, oh, I'm just drinking again, and getting down, depressed, bloated, feeling heavy, not feeling, good, see if you can obtain a healthier, higher vibration, sort of self-nutrient activity versus the self-medicating. So doing some research, I've never had that before. So find out about like wheatgrass. Get yourself a NutriBullet. Begin to, get into some other juicing and get into some, where you're putting vegetables, fresh, live enzymes, E3 Live. There are a lot of different supplements that you can then put into your juicer, which will give you the live enzymes, when you do the citrus. Citrus is a wonderful energizer. And so you can try that to help give you some energy. If you need to calm down, then research like the calming herbs, the dandelion, things that you can put in these beverages that are going to help you to calm down. The St. John's wort, things of this nature. Now, some of these, I don't really know about the St. John's wort, but, things to help you calm down. There's kava, there's different things. Some of it I don't feel is very effective, but truly, if you do feel a need that you are on too much of a roller coaster, and your thoughts are kind of out of control, or the ruminations are strong and you're not finding that you can manage and cope, I would highly recommend, of course, for everyone to always go through, your primary care physician and have that discussion. I need some help. Oftentimes people will let these feelings fester for years and years and years when they could be taking advantage of consultation and advice from their primary care physician and treat that with some of the other medications that are out there. So why self-medicate? Why struggle? Why be embarrassed if you need to take some sort of medicine? God has created these medicines for a period of time to help people. And it's, the medicine right now is very balanced. It's very refined. And there has been a lot of success with that. So if you find that you're really struggling and the edge is not coming off with your other sort of avenues, your positive early direction thinking and behaving, and then having a go-to instead of going back to the same old, rut behaviors as a way of coping or self-medicating, then have that discussion and seeing what they can do to help you. And, and definitely don't feel that, any shame for trying these new things. It's going to take some knowledge, but I think you'll enjoy the process because there's so many things to do that will give you a better energy than the sort of thwarted, I'm feeling like I'm stuck again doing the same old thing and I know it's not good for me. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.